nation's COVID task force hailed today's news, but warned everyone to stay vigilant.
Now is not the time to relax the critical safeguards that we know can stop the spread of COVID-19 in our communities.
That message is getting some pushback, mostly aimed at Dr. Anthony Fauci.
But Fauci, such a downer. You know, we're masks forever. I don't want to wear a mask forever.
He was also a target at CPAC.
Dr. Fauci is wrong a lot.
Bottom line, we don't have to worry about this one, right?
This is not a major threat for the people in the United States, and this is not something that the citizens of the United States right now should be worried about.
Right now, don't worry about it. Be more concerned about influenza, which is going into a second peak for the season.
Should we be changing our habits, and if so, how?
No, right now, at this moment, there is no need to change anything that you're doing on a day-by-day basis.
When you're in the middle of an outbreak, wearing a mask might make people feel a little bit better, and it might even block a droplet, but it's not providing the perfect protection that people think that it is.
I mean, for me as a public health official, obviously, I would like the consideration that everybody wears a mask.
There's concern today that the conservative conference could prove to be a super spreader. Hundreds packed into an Orlando hotel ballroom for the event and scoffed when they were asked to wear masks.
Please, everyone, when you're in the ballroom, when you're seated, you should still be wearing a mask.
I find it hilarious that this is a party that won't come down on rioters, looters, or prosecute criminals or felons who then reoffend, but they're going to punish you if you don't wear a mask.
Every single American should be wearing a mask when they're outside for the next 3 months at minimum.
So who's the autocrat now? We've been told that Trump was this tyrant, this autocrat who's just going to force everybody to do what he wanted. And yet he said, no, you governors, you do what you want. But now it's Biden who's saying this has to be mandated. So it's he the tyrant now? Is the media going to go after him?
What is wrong with this guy? What's wrong with him? There's something wrong.
Yeah, Marie, do you think this is tyrannical? Joe Biden and Kamala Harris going out there and demanding everybody wear a mask wherever they are?
Well, Joe Biden actually said each state should do their mandates on their own. So he's actually leaving it up to the states.
Every governor should mandate. Every governor should mandate mandatory mask wearing.
Well, Joe Biden actually said each state should do their mandates on their own. So he's actually leaving it up to the states to do what is best for the states.
So it's the same thing.
He's doing what Trump did. So what's new? So what's new? I'm sorry.
Saying that's so true. That everyone should wear a mask.
That's what real leadership looks like. We just witnessed real leadership, which is Joe Biden said that as a nation, we should all be wearing a mask.
If the president had acted sooner, would have saved, just 1 week earlier, would have saved 30-some thousand lives. 2 weeks earlier, I think it was 51 or 57,000 lives.
Because there's nothing we can do to change the trajectory of the pandemic in the next several months.
I hope we've learned a lesson.
Because there's nothing we can do to change the trajectory of the pandemic in the next several months.
And the thing about Joe that the American people know is that his role of leadership in our country has always been about doing what's best for the people of our country.
But I also believe, and it's personal, and I was actually it was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of two United States senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country.
And the thing about Joe that the American people know is that his role of leadership in our country has always been about doing what's best for the people of our country.
Vice President Biden, do you agree today that you were wrong to oppose busing in America then?
No,
do you agree?
I did not oppose busing in America.
In the 1970s, then Senator Biden was a fierce critic of Delaware's attempts to bus students in an effort to integrate its schools.
I did not oppose busing in America.
CNN recently revealed that in 1977, Biden wrote a letter to the segregationist Senator James Eastland thanking him for supporting his anti-busing legislation.
So they do a good job. No, he's a liar. He lies about everything. He's now lying about not being a corrupt politician. I called him last night. He's a corrupt I don't want to say that, but he's a corrupt politician, and he'll lie.
The words of a president matter.
You were wrong to oppose busing in America.
And when Joe talks about his priorities, he knows and he cares.
They would love to see a guy like Sleepy Joe Biden, who has no clue what the hell he's doing.
And Representatives Shirley Jackson Lee, Al Green.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
Shirley Jackson Lee.
And stop calling me Shirley.
Sylvia Garcia, Lizzie Pinelli. Pinell. And what am I doing here? I'm going to lose track here. And
you ever seen a grown man naked?
And I'm happy to take questions if that's what I'm supposed to do, Nance, whatever you want me to do.
Say to Sleepy Joe, sir, just sign right there. Oh, okay. I'll sign.
And he hinted that he might run again in 2024.
Who knows? I may even decide to beat them for a third time, okay?
His favorite tune, still YMCA.
If tomorrow all the things were gone I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife.
His favorite tune, still YMCA. We're learning today that Trump and his wife Melania got COVID-19 vaccines in January, just before they left the White House.
When you and I talked last, we talked about it's one thing to have the vaccine, which we didn't have when we came into office, but a vaccinator.
We're learning today that Trump and his wife Melania got COVID-19 vaccines in January, just before they left the White House.
It's one thing to have the vaccine, which we didn't have when we came into office.
In reference to the COVID vaccines, Biden said, which we didn't have when I came into office. Well, fact check, that is, of course, completely false. In fact, he received 2 vaccine shots himself while President Trump was still in the White House.
Tonight, President-elect Joe Biden rolling up his sleeve, getting Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine.
I'm doing this to demonstrate that people should be prepared when it's available to take the vaccine.
It's one thing to have the vaccine, which we didn't have when we came into office.
President Trump, you have repeatedly either contradicted or been at odds with some of your government's own top scientists. The week before last, the head of the Centers for Disease Control, Dr. Redfield, said it would be summer before the vaccine would become generally available to the public.
Because the vaccine is going to begin to be rolled out probably by the end of the second week of December.
The head of the Centers for Disease Control, Dr. Redfield, said it would be summer before the vaccine would become generally available to the public.
The vaccine is going to begin to be rolled out probably by the end of the second week of December.
Yeah. But Dr. Slaoui, the head of your Operation Warp Speed, has said exactly the same thing. Are they both wrong?
Well, I've spoken to the companies, and we can have it a lot sooner. It's a very political thing because people like this would rather make it political than save lives. God. It is a very political thing.
How close are we to a vaccine for COVID-19?
That is going to happen somewhere between October and December, January.
Do you believe for a moment what he's telling you in light of all the lies he's told you about the whole issue relating to COVID?
It's one thing to have the vaccine, which we didn't have when we came into office.
This guy is either really stupid or he lies, just at a level that nobody's ever seen before.
He still hasn't even acknowledged that he knew this was happening, knew how dangerous it was going to be back in February.
As we stand here today, the risk of the American public remains low. As was said, we should anticipate more cases, but again, the current risk to the American public remains low.
Because guess what? A lot of people died. And a lot more are going to die unless he gets a lot smarter, a lot quicker.
So, Mr. President?
Did you use the word smart?
I've done some dumb things, and I'll do dumb things again.
Joe Biden and his son are corrupt.
So you said you went to Delaware State, but you forgot the name of your college.
HBCUs. I got started out of an HBCU, Delaware State. Now, I don't want to hear anything negative about Delaware State here, okay? They're my folks.
You didn't go to Delaware State. You graduated either the lowest or almost the lowest in your class. Don't ever use the word smart with me.
Joe Biden is a dummy.
Don't ever use that word.
Oh, give me a break.
Because you know what? There's nothing smart about you, Joe. 47 years, you've done nothing.
Let's have this debate.
And if you would have had, let me just tell you something, Joe.
No,
if you would have had the charge of what I was put through, I had to close the greatest economy in the history of our country. And by the way, now it's being built again.
See,
and it's
we're going to
going
get
up
to the
fast.
economy in the next segment, sir.
Okay.
I am your voice.
Joey, did you ever hang around the gymnasium?
We better get back now, Joey.
No, Joey can stay here for a while if you'd like.
Could I? Okay, if you don't get in the way.
Flight 20.